Hello collectors, it's Steven here with another Pokemon review. This time I'm taking a look at the second Pokemon Nendoroid, Cynthia. Partnered with her signature Garchomp, this fun little set brings the champion to your display. Initially a Japanese exclusive, she is available through the US's Pokemon Center website. Sit back, relax, and let's take a look to see whether or not she's worth adding into your collection. Cynthia's paint scheme is rather simple, and it's nailed, for the most part, perfectly. She's also sculpted well, too, so the chibi qualities are just right. A look at her head where the eyes look just right, and the aura-sensing earrings, or whatever they are, the Lucario-looking things on the side of her head, they're nicely done. And yes, I did say eyes, because as you'll see here, only slightly, both of her faceplates have two eyes, despite not really being able to see both of them. And a quick look at the back of her head where you can see her hair is very nicely sculpted. A look at her torso where the buttons are nicely painted and you can see the sculpt around the wrists, which is supposed to be fur, looks really nice. A look at her legs where the shoes have a nice gold band to them. The paint is precisely applied, so good job on that one. A quick look at her Garchomp and she's pretty nicely painted. You can tell it's a she because there's no groove. Here's Garchomp's head. The yellow on the front of it isn't perfect where the star shape is, looking a bit clumpy, and there's some slop to the teeth as you can see. The eyes, however, are perfect. The chest and arms where the paint that's not purple isn't perfectly applied, but it's less noticeable here. However, the two main hooks on the arms of Garchomp look just fine. And the legs of Garchomp, where you can see these spikes up here, not cleanly painted, and the toes are just a little sloppy. All in all, Cynthia looks perfect, but Garchomp isn't exactly clean. However, considering the size of Garchomp and the price of the set, it's a small sacrifice. It also helps that the paint slop isn't that bad either, being only really noticeable when handling up close. Now, Cynthia is not exactly built for articulation, she's more of a display piece, but thankfully she does have a few points. So the neck is a swivel hinge combo, so this way you can move her head around a little bit. She has a lot of hair, so you're not really going to be able to move her head back too much, but you can move it down a little bit. Of course, left and right is always a possibility. Shoulders are on swivels, as you can see here. They move forward and back. Wrists are on swivels. A little difficult to move, but that's okay. See him spinning them around. Now, this part here on her chest, slightly movable, but I don't think it's supposed to be. I think it's one of those things where maybe it's just not glued on right, so be careful with that. The waist, we do have a swivel. And for the legs, at the hips, we have another swivel hinge combo for both of them. They move around like so. Same sort of joint as the neck. Now, Garchomp's articulation is similar in that, well, not too many points because it's more of a display piece. The head is on a ball joint. You can spin it all the way around if you want. You can just bob her head around a little bit, get it to look left and right. Shoulders, swivel, like so. Bicep swivel. Now you have to be careful because as you spin it around like that, they like to pop off. It's a pain, but c'est la vie. Oh, there we go. Pops off easy as you can see. Only downside of Garchomp, really. Legs at the hips, swivel. Anything at the tail? Nope, sadly not. So that's all the articulation these two have. Thankfully, some accessories make up for it. Now, since Cynthia is more of a display piece, we have to have a stand for her, and thankfully we do get one, and it is your classical Nendoroid stand. We have this little peg here, and the arm attachment just goes into one of the holes on the base. And so what you do is you have this hole in the back of Cynthia's head. You line up the peg, gently work it into the back of Cynthia's head, like so, and there you go. Now Cynthia can stand, and you can create a nice little display around her. Now, let's say you don't want to have Cynthia with the normal face. We get one expression part here with Cynthia's eyes closed, and she looks rather pleased with this face. Now, unfortunately, this is the only faceplate that we get with Cynthia, but thankfully, with Nendoroids, there are some faceplate swapping capabilities, so mix and match, see which ones fit, and maybe you'll get a good result. And swapping the faceplates, super easy to do. Grab the front of her hair, gently wiggle it off, like that. Grab the currently attached faceplate, gently wiggle that off. Take the new one, line it up, slide it in, reattach the hair, and there we go. Continuing on, Cynthia comes with 2 right arm parts, 1 left arm part, and a few additional hands. Now, swapping out Cynthia's arm parts is relatively easy to do. However, her hair does make this a bit more difficult. So I find the best way to swap out the arm parts is to first remove the currently attached hair part at the front, like you would be swapping out a face. And to swap out the arms, you may have to twist her body a little bit, so this way you have better access, and just slowly wiggle and pull the currently attached arm part out. To attach a new arm part, just simply insert the peg at the shoulder into the hole on the body. I'll go ahead and do both sides for you. Now, with swapping out these arm parts, Cynthia gains 2 different hand parts here, and that is 1 hand to hold an accessory, which I'll show you later, and we get another hand part that makes it look like Cynthia is holding her fist at her hip. Now, Cynthia does come with 1 extra hand part for the left arm, and that is a hand where she is pointing. To swap out the hand parts for this, or any of the other ones, if you want to mix and match and try some new combinations, all you have to do is grab the currently attached hand. It can be difficult because of this fluff sculpt around her wrist, and just slowly pull and wiggle it off. I may or may not have staged that already, so it was easy to pull off. Take your currently attached hand, insert the peg into the wrist hole, and there you have it. Now Cynthia is pointing. Now, to make Cynthia slightly more expressive, we get this leg part here where she has a bent knee. Pretty cool. Same sculpt and paint detail as the normal legs. And to swap them out, all you have to do is grab one of the currently attached legs. Pops out relatively easy, just like that. And slide this leg into the spot for the previous leg. So now it looks like she's performing some sort of action. And the last accessory Cynthia comes with is a Pokeball. Now, those of you who own Red will know that there is a hole in the back of the Pokeball. However, this one does not have a hole in the back, just one at the bottom. And Cynthia has a right hand for her to hold the Pokeball. As you can see, there's a little peg in that one. And all you have to do, take the Pokeball with the hole in the bottom, line it up with the peg in the hand, just like that. And now she's ready for battle. Now, most would say that Cynthia is rather bland with her accessories. However, by a technicality, you are buying the Nendoroid Cynthia and not the Nendoroid Garchomp. So, this one is an accessory too. All things considered, we get a pretty nice package with Cynthia. Now, Cynthia is about the size of your average Nendoroid. However, for those of you looking to fit her into a display, here she is alongside some of Bandai's SH Figuarts Mario characters. Here, alongside some Nintendo Figmas, alongside some other Nintendo Nendoroids, alongside some of the Tamashii Nation's Pokemon figures, and finally alongside the other currently released Pokemon Nendoroids. So, as you can see, if you have a spot cleared for her already, chances are she'll fit in just fine. For those of you who would like a size comparison of Garchomp, here alongside some of the Pokemon D-Arts, and finally alongside the other Nendoroid Pokemon. So, it might not be perfectly in scale, but it is a nice addition to Cynthia. So, buy her now, skip her, or hunt down a deal. She looks great, with the simple paint apps being nearly perfect. Accessory-wise, though, she is a bit lacking. Perhaps a more intense faceplate would help, but the inclusion of Garchomp does make up for that. Overall, this is a fantastic figure, and fans of Cynthia will not be disappointed picking her up. She is still available through the Pokemon Center's website at the time of this review, so don't miss out on this Nendoroid. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and be sure to give it a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't. If you'd like to view some of my other videos, go ahead and click on the pictures in this video and you'll be taken right to them. I've hand-selected them just for you. Be sure to check the description for both more information and some links to help me out, including a link to my Patreon. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.